The playoff teams may be decided, but the race isn't yet over. We still need to decide who comes in first. Diaz, Gomez, and Yaga have one more hill to climb to the top, and it's big and yellow and has a couple former teammates standing right at the top. So now it's time to figure out whether the new M80 can beat the old M80 for first place. Welcome back to day 9 of the NAL. I'm Jacob, he's Foxy, he is Jesse. That is the story of this game. It's teammates against teammates. The team that doesn't have any NA-based players against the team that is trying to find a way to beat that old squad. It's a pretty darn good storyline for who gets first place in the league.
It's a great storyline, and usually when a player leaves a team or gets dropped off of a team, you usually pick that team to play against their rival and win. But now, when the team splits evenly, who do you give the edge to?
True.
It's a tough one to call, and for Oxygen and M80, they are obviously battling. Both teams can and want to get first place, but don't keep your eye off Beast Coast as well, because they could sneak up into first if we see a very specific set of circumstances. I believe an overtime win for M80 opens that door, and of course the top 2 door is wide open for Beast Coast. For whoever loses this game, they're in a big danger zone where they could fall out of the top 2.
That's the problem, because both of them lost yesterday. It now creates a circumstance where the loser of this matchup might not retain second. It will depend on how the Beast Coast game also goes. You obviously want to win this game. If you do that, you're fine. You're in first, you lock it, and you don't have to worry about losing your bye. But if you lose this matchup, then you might not get the bye anymore.
Yeah, and as you notice on the stats, it's a nice little implication of M80 being really good at just about everything. But when it comes to OXG, it seems like it's very top-heavy. They're amazing on attack and entry, but they've been having their own difficulties on defense.
Yeah, and so for the top 2, obviously Oxygen with any win will lock down the top 2. Oxygen also locked down top 2 with an 8-7 M80 victory. So if it goes 15 rounds, regardless, Oxygen locked down the top 2. If M80 win in any other fashion, I do believe, yes, they will be locking down top 2. Not necessarily first again, but still top 2. That's what really matters, and that's what they're playing for.
So all we need is an 8-7 to not happen, and then we're fine, and we don't worry about any extracurricular math to worry about for this game.
For this game. Next games are still very complicated.
Right, which is why when we have round differential tiebreakers and point standings and all of this stuff, we figure it out and then hope we don't worry about getting to the more complicated side of things. For M80, all they know is if they win, they not only get above Oxygen for the first time this stage, but they will have done it in phenomenal fashion. They just lost yesterday, which makes it a little bit weird to figure out where they're meant to stand here.
It's a sticky situation because we look at M80 and we say, wow, everyone's so consistent. Wow, they have great players, great support players, everything is working. But all put together, there's still a little bit of holes in the strategy. And it makes perfect sense. Whenever we don't see their entries being droned in or finding success on that initial entry, like we saw yesterday against Beast Coast, like we saw against Luminosity, when they don't have a good understanding of where the kills are going to come and they get shut down immediately, that's where we see M80 struggle, because there's only so many amounts of individuality and unique operators that you can really bring out to get you that leg in the game. Sometimes it really just comes down to who's going to hit the shot, and if they just don't have the information against a team that's very sporadic, it is really hard for them to find any other way out of it.
Yeah, their attacks have definitely been the place where they've struggled the most, but their strongest point and has undoubtedly been their defenses. And they're not technically the best defensive team in the league right now. You can see they are 1 percentage point behind both Luminosity and Beast Coast. But for all intents and purposes, I think looking at them with the eye test, they are the best defensive team in the league right now. And I think the thing that sets them apart from Beast Coast and Luminosity, when you look at the defensive overall rounds, is their impact of the opening pick. M80 have nearly a 50% improvement on their win rate when they get the opening pick. It goes from somewhere in the 40s, low 40s to about high 80s does their win rate go with the opening pick. And I think a big reason why is because of their entries. But yesterday, there was a big problem where on the defense against Beast Coast, they weren't able to get those opening picks. Usually the opening picks from M80 come from them getting aggressive. It comes from them making a move that catches somebody off guard, which then either stalls out the attack or enables them to go forward and then get even more picks in the chaos. But yesterday in the game against Beast Coast, what we saw was so often they weren't in control of those opening picks. They were getting hunted down, they were getting caught off guard, and I think that comes down to A, the fact they were playing Oregon and there can sometimes be less easy routes to escape and to kind of cause that chaos, and also just because they went into that defensive half already down 5-1, and their confidence wasn't really there. So I want to see a more confident defensive side. I think when M80 can get aggressive in the defense, they are at their best, but they haven't always done that.
And when you look at how they play their defenses, it's them hunting the kill, the first kill most of the time. It's not just waiting and buying their time, like some other teams in the league have been doing, where they just wait and they stall out. They're actually going out and hunting those kills. And unfortunately for them, when it gets to attack, we just heard Canadians say attack has been hard, but more often than not, unless they're using a Deimos or a Blackbeard or something unique, I guess, to get a pick, they just haven't been able to find that.
Gunplay's been their forte. It's also been Oxygen's foreplay, but there's been a bit of a problem these past couple games. They were 5-0. Now they've lost 2 straight, and not in close fashion either. Round one in the game 6, 3 rounds won in game 7. If you're doing the math at home, can you count? I can't. That's 4 over the course of 2 games. They really need to find a way to step up here.
OXG riding the slip and slide. These start with 5 wins in a row, and now so far through the Super Week, they have not found even a single win 4 rounds across their games against both Dark Zero and Space Station. And as we've seen, Dark Zero and Space Station, these are good teams. They're both playoff caliber teams. In fact, we found out not too long ago. But those scorelines are, I think, unacceptable for the way that we've seen Oxygen play so far. Obviously, they're already locked into playoffs, but this is a team that we thought would be dominating North America. They should be the best team in NA based on how they started the stage. But right now, with their last 2 losses, they are very quickly falling down that ranking, and it seems like they now may not even hold on to that top 2 spot.
Because they've lost these last 2 games, we now actually have some things we can really specifically pinpoint weaknesses in their play. So if there's anything that really stands out, Fox, you used to play for them, what's the biggest problem?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is just the amount of individuality that we've seen of them recently. It looks like a little bit of overconfidence. SSG completely dismantled them because they weren't giving them the opening kills that we expected OXG to be going. They kept very outside of the limits. Everyone set up, and when it was ready to go, SSG attacked. And they were just be able to get not only 1 opening kill on OXG, but multi-kill it. Because as you see right here, it just looked like OXG completely had no idea where anybody was going to come from, and they didn't know that they didn't really have a game plan on what to hold. Now, in my opinion, there is a big indicator of this map specifically against SSG, where they gave Dream, who is the main IGL, more so to say. Everyone's talking on the team, but he said that he has 60-70% of that calling ability. He was on more of a roam, flexible opportunist, and he was given that freedom. And in this round, in this game against SSG, they weren't giving any picks, so there was no direction for OXG to grab a hold to and pave the way. They had to just wait and sit for SSG to make the play, and that's the clear weakness that we've been seeing in the last 2 games, is when a team just doesn't give OXG that chance for those gunfights. They just steamroll through it. All the way through, they're able to convert 1 kill into multi-kills, and it just looks very stumbled, 1 foot in front of the other for OXG.
Yeah, it's been difficult for them. I mean, obviously, we've seen things really fall apart. That last game on Bank, not ideal. We'll see where they head now, of course, between M80 and Oxygen. M80, I think, have been obviously very, very strong in the defense. Oxygen, I've really liked their attacks, and some of those more aggressive defenses haven't really been working out for them. They go to Clubhouse, which is not a map that Oxygen, I believe, have played this stage. We did see M80 take down Los on it in a pretty strong game.
True.
So a little bit more footage, perhaps, on the tape for M80, but all in all, it's their standard map that both teams should be comfortable with.
M80 start defense first. OXG needed to find a really strong footing at the very beginning of this game. Again, defender meta at the moment. So if OXG don't have, what, like maybe a 4-2 start at minimum, then maybe we see this thing landslide?
Oh, you absolutely want to go 3-3 on Clubhouse to be confident on the attack going on to defense. If you get a 4-2, that gets really scary. And so far what we've seen from OXG is whenever the round count goes against them, maybe it's because they are comfortable in that top 2 spot supposedly right now. To them, when they lose rounds, instead of thinking of, oh, how are we going to pull ourselves out of it, it's more like, we're still top 2, it's all good.
NAL Predictions Championships calling your name right now, dude. 55%.
I'm making a leap. I'm making a
3
leap.
points above. Yeah, I mean, he's gone OXG, so what are you doing right now?
Oh, well, I had OXG picked beforehand, but because of the map and how I've been feeling recently, I've been going with my gut, like you said.
Good.
And I think I'm going to switch it to M80.
You're swapping it. All right. Try to increase that lead even higher.
I'm making the distance.
All right. I'm here for it. Jesse?
Yeah, I'm going to try to grab one of the coattails and see if I can ride along. I'm going M80 as well. I think this is a comfortable map for them. They're in a comfortable spot. They're playing better than Oxygen recently, and this is not a map like Oregon where I think they were having a lot of problems. So I like their club. I'm happy picking M80 in this case.
Sounds good to me. First place is on the line. Remember, the winner of this game, barring an 8-7 result, and hopefully we don't get to that stage, winner of this matchup, first place, and at minimum locks in a bye week heading into the first round of playoffs, and the loser better hope Beast Coast doesn't beat Los in Game 3. It's Parker McGuy and Nicholas Mortensen with the call on Club.
It's quite tight at the top of the standings. Luminosity 12 points, DZ 12 points, Beast Coast 13, M80 14, OXG 15. All of them are squeakers right now. It has looked like OXG's crown to lose when it comes to North America, and they might just lose it here, Nick. OXG are unfortunately faltering at the worst possible time in the season.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, they started off so hot, looking like the team to beat, and then the closer we got to the end, the quote-unquote worse they started looking. I mean, things just kind of falling apart from them, but I mean, they're still looking good right now. It's just, you know, a bit of a slip-off in performance. Social prediction is 50-50. I'm pretty much in that same spot. I think this comes down to the performance of the day. If OXG can figure out their attack and struggles like they had against DC on Consulate, I think they will win. But if they go into this matchup with a really slow attack and start, struggling against a team like M80 who's really good on defense, I don't know if they can turn around. I'm with Fox here. I want OXG on a 3-3 half to have faith in them. And let's hope for them that they can get it done.
Operator bans now getting locked in. We saw our first bandit ban in the previous matchup today. Will we see in the remaining, well, 3 technically, this match and then the next 2, will we see any new operators make their ban debut? No. Tubarow's been banned twice. This will be the 3rd Tubarow ban. Fenrir has been banned 19 times. Now make that 20. Far and away leading the way when it comes to operator bans. Maverick was only banned a single time. Capitao only banned twice. So these are very low presence operators getting removed. Tubarow's 3rd ban, Capitao's 3rd ban, Maverick's 2nd ban of all of this region. That is surprising, I guess, to see their ban rate so low, but I mean, it has been quite high. Dokkaebi and Ying banned in almost every single match. Fenrir and Azami are definitely up there, as is Valkyrie. The removal of Capitao and Maverick will hinder the attackers, but how will it change the landscape of Clubhouse?
Yeah, so whenever a team will ban out the Maverick, like M80 they do, you pretty much always have to respond with a Tubarao ban because you just cannot get through the walls reliably on the attacking side. It becomes way too difficult. So with both of these operators being gone, you're kind of defaulting back to what Clubhouse used to be like a couple of years ago, where on defense, you're gonna play active wall deny with Bandit, Butte, and or Kaid, depending on the bomb set, of course, and the attackers will likely default onto a Thatcher. They'll play a primary Heart Breacher, and maybe on some bomb sets like Jacuzzi or CCTV, we might even see the return of Sophia. We will EMP the wall, Sophia stun the guy Bandit tricking, and then open it up. So it's funny how, depending on the operator bans and operators that are in play, we'll see different kind of iterations of this map. And it's why teams who've been around for a very long time, or teams who have players who've been around for a very long time, they have that slight advantage. For some of these players, you know, that are in NAL and in other regions as well, they have memories of the Sophia denying the bandit tricking, but they might not have been pro players themselves back when that was actually how you played the game. For this game though, there is a fair bit of experience on the sides of both defense and attack. Again, OXG, we want to look at their pacing, if they can be quick to the punch, if they can build those opening kills, then build forward from that. Because if they start losing their opening duel, they slow down, they stall out, and they don't tend to progress. Newers, the guy we're watching right now, is typically the man in action when it comes to those either early deaths or early kills.
Newers had one of his worst games of the stage just a couple days ago, and it was against Dark Zero, made him look mortal. He and Gomez have been the absolute bright spots for the best team in the region. At least for now. The standings might change depending on what happens in this match. Gomez dies early, M80 finding the very first kill. That was Noodle, who himself had quite a rough game just the other day. It was very uncharacteristic of M80. They ended up beating Los, but it was a slugfest. This time, OXG will be without their Ram. That means that Kitchen will be relatively safe for M80 as they sit on this bottom floor bomb site.
Also, note how passive Newers played after Gomez died. Newers wasn't actively holding the red staircase for the fallback. He wasn't pushing forward trying to get a trade onto his teammate. He started peeling backwards saying, okay, all right, we lost a player, we ain't losing me as well. So OXG, a little bit scared in this round. M80, they get open and pick. What do you see? Keep a barrier off Garage Door. Everybody runs back to side. They want to play this man advantage because they know OXG, they need the numbers to execute. M80 with a great strat, but Newers finds one.
Noodle maybe over peaks, and now the next one up. And his line of sight is going to be Spoit, who's being harassed by those bees. Multiple marks now. The castle of Cameraman not too far off, just inside of Church. We're still just going to follow Newers for now.
Okay.
Not sure what everybody else is doing. There go the bees. Cameraman dies. Newers still looking for more. Diaz eliminating Citizen. There's Spoit to get into the action. Maybe in a bad spot. V3. Now it's all up to Spoit as Dream is getting the diffuser down. Spoit will need to emerge from Church. Two highest rated players from OXG all stage long are gone, but you've got insurance. And you've got a good set of support players who can get the job done. First round goes to OXG after they get the diffuser down and then clean up all of the remaining kills, aka just Spoit.
I really like the early stage of that round for M80, where they get the opening pick, they fall back, they have a really good plan set up, but then they kind of throw it in the bin, and I don't know why. Noodle right here massively overextends, then Cameraman overextends. Like, they keep swinging Newers inside of blue, and why? You have so much map control. There's no verticality really in Kitchen. You can play on that back B bomb side. You can play Church Arsenal. You can play in blue, just tucked behind the engine. You have so many great spots, power positions, and they just kind of swing a single guy in gunfights, and they don't even do it together. It was individual 1v1s that happened at 3 separate occasions, and Newers won out twice. If the plan is to fall back and play the man advantage, you gotta actually play the man advantage. Otherwise, M80 could have just stayed on the roam. At least then they're playing for map control and they're gonna stall out the attack. So, not the biggest fan of that, but you gotta give praise to OXG. I was saying how Newers was peeling backwards, not going aggressive. Once Gomez died, I was thinking, okay, Newers might have lost the confidence because of how that early round played out. No, he walks down blue a minute and 30 seconds later and quite generally just like gets 2 kills with confidence. And that's what OXG need, because against Dark Zero, they were struggling to get in the building and their players they felt like they didn't even want to try anymore. So we gotta see them mentally stay in this. Now we get to see that good old, how do you deal with the bandit tricking on the attacking side? Well, that's your Thermite Age. You can EMP the wall, Selma left, Thermite charge right. If you get the timing right, a bandit is a little bit slow, one of the Selmas or the Thermite charge should pop. There it is. Now, if you pre-place the bandit charge as you see the EMP come out, you can actually trick both of those chargers, but it's a very tricky timing to do as a bandit without proper intel. And the best case scenario happened for OXG. He tricked the Selma charge. That means the extra Thermite charge and Thermite, it pops the wall open. That's the biggest breach. That's what you want on attack. So OXG, they troubleshoot problem number 1. Now, problem number 2 is going to be catwalk control if they want to go for a garage attack. They have Munchie and the Grim to work, to peel that area of the map off, which is excellent. Because the only real counter from M80 is Kino and Smoke, who's playing on the bomb side. Wherever that catwalk of this player is, which is likely Noodle and Asami, is not going to have a good time in this round.
There's one Kiba barrier in back pocket now as we hit the halfway mark of the round. Monty is just at the bottom of that catwalk position. Now we'll go an impact by Dream. Brett will go an impact and do some damage to Dream. Noodle still holding on to this spot. Dream now wanting to ascend up. Can he actually get by the Kiba barrier? I don't think he can.
You gotta crouch and extend and take some damage, or you gotta call over some self-destruction. So a Selma charge from Newers could be the trick here. Oh, I guess you can shoot him these days, actually. That's a change.
That is a big change. He has 3 kills so far. They all came from the previous round. In Gomez were big additions to OXG in the offseason. Both have had huge moments so far. He's regaining one of the top-rated spots in the region after a rough go of it just a couple days ago. He has Newers and Gomez all stacked up. Down goes Yaga. Rush in, created by Spoit. Kino's not far removed, but he can only find nothing. A down on Gomez is what he will technically get. Dream has made his way up rafters now on that catwalk, close enough to the rotate to walk into the bomb site. There's Citizen on this lurk spot yet again. He doesn't seem to know where the Monty is. He's getting calls. Citizen has been a non-factor, but he might be able to make a splash. Taking down Diaz, and now panic will ensue in the ranks of OXG as it's just Dream remaining. A single point of HP, and Citizen has 2 impacts to do enough damage. M80 do not surrender that defense, and the teams will find themselves in a tie.
It seemed like OXG wanted to isolate Kino playing that smoke close by the breach on top red and just try and get that kill and get out because it was a quote-unquote freebie, right? Throw in a flashbang, double peek it, but Kino hit 2 shotgun shells while fully blinded. One injuring the person in the back and then doing a bunch of damage to that second player, and then Spot picks up a kill off of that too. I feel like you could have just gone for a garage attack because you had the Monty, but OXG did both. They have 2 players attack garage, 3 players attack the breach, and they do get catwalk control. They actually clear out Noodle on the Asami, but at what cost? They lose so many bodies, and to make it even worse, it had 2 C4s. So a plan attempt, not really possible. Too much self-destruction from the defenders, and again, you have most attackers besides Monty actually outside the building. It's a nice little bit of a counterplay from both teams, saying, oh, we're gonna go kill the smoke. That's a good one. Okay, defenders, they have 3 people covering the smoke. It's that bait and switch kind of playstyle that both teams are buying into, and whoever wins out in gunplay and teamwork, they will come out on top as well. Both teams looking good. The first 2 rounds, we've seen some multiplay, seen that utility with the Heartbreach and the MPs, we've seen bandit tricking being attempted. Maybe though, they will go back downstairs, and I figured that they thought that first round was a fluke. It shouldn't have gone that way for OXG. They can go back downstairs, same exact lineup, but get a different result this time.
I don't think Cameraman got droned there, Nick.
Right.
Playing by bar, I think the drone went right past him, and if that's the case, well, he might be in a very strong spot. Cameraman yet to find the scoreboard. Kino and him, kindred spirits at the moment. There goes what appears to be the first boogie as it will tear through the floor. With Gomez dying early on this bomb site before OXG was deprived of that soft destruction, that would make life for M80 quite miserable. Yet M80 persevered.
Ooh.
Just as they did, picking off Newers in this round. A second attempt at this bomb site downstairs. M80 have found the first kill in both of those instances. They were not able to translate that to a round victory the first time. Will their odds improve? Well, Yaga equalizes. As M80 were slow to get back to the bomb site. OXG now have to find their way towards the bomb site without Newers.
I wouldn't even say they were slow at getting back to the side. Citizen, like, he was safe and then said, you know what, I'm gonna go back up the staircase because him and Cameraman were moving together. The difference is Cameraman went all the way down the staircase thinking, I value my life. Citizen was like, I can get one more drone, right? Surely. No, you can't. And the issue is they fully commit to falling back to the side, but because not every single player commits to it, they lose a member. So that early, opening advantage doesn't really get them that far. They lose, valuable utility. They lose, the gun in the round of Citizen, who was a great player previously. And they also give OXG the sign that it's clear. There's nobody here. Like the roam is gone for. We're either falling back or we've died. So they sprint to the building now. Soft destruction. Get the Kaito with his X-Cairo. They missed. Gotta aim it differently. Keep trying. Keep searching. These is fishing right now. Because the soft destruction from the X-Cairo will destroy the Kite Claw if you put it on the right side of the hatch. He's now done it incorrectly twice because he doesn't know exactly where it is. There are no EMPs from Dream. This is valuable time being lost, and that kitchen hatch will not get opened up. It's a bit of a blunder here from OXG.
Those Bs were so critical in blue last time. Now you see Yaga prepping the last canister to go down as M80 find yet another kill. Dream being reduced to just a single point of HP, finished off by Noodle. Yaga will desperately swing onto Noodle, win the engagement, and get the secure for trouble. Now he bops up and down, but it's M80 to win. In the cut and thrust of the round, it just took OXG a little bit too much time.
And this is why kitchen edge is so important. You can see the defenders running around the bomb site in positions that normally should be dangerous. And yeah, it's tricky if you don't have the EMPs. It's tricky if you're low on time. But ultimately, you gotta get that kitchen edge opened up if you want to put yourself up for the best case scenario. Defense successful on that basement attempt. And now M80, they got the question where to go next. But is it a difficult choice? It's between bar and gym bedroom. And we don't see a whole lot of bar recently. There was a time period around the Berlin Major, give or take, where we started seeing a fair bit of bar. Brazil, as a region, they like to play it domestically quite a bit. But even there, it's also having a significant, down pick rate. People just don't seem to play it in this meta. And it's hard. In the current way of playing Siege, you gotta spread quite thin across the map as a defender. And when you play bomb side like bar defense on Clubhouse, there are so many things to worry about. You gotta worry about having good side control, deny the breaches, play verticality, have good guns. It's just a little bit too thin, perhaps. Whereas, CCTV, basement, and gym master bedroom, that's your 3 staple. And if you want to get crazy with it, you can go bar. Yeah, sure. It's more of a pocket strat. Once in a game, once in a while. Once you see fit, maybe you know that your opponent kind of sucks at attacking that specific side, if they've attacked it before, then you might go there.
It's actually the first time this bomb site has been played in North America. The most played map. Clubhouse and Oregon both tied at 7, far away from Bank. But Clubhouse has not looked like the other maps. Admittedly, Bank, third most played map, has not seen a Teller's Archives get played. Oregon has only seen 1 Kitchen and Dining get played so far as well.
Really?
So North America is really liking this same 3-site rotation. Go farther down, go to Chalet. 4th most played map, technically tied with Bank. Office and master bedroom have only been played twice. So teams, again, very heavily favoring these 3 sites. Go farther, go to Cafe. There's been no defense of that upstairs bomb site of Cocktail at all in North America.
What?
Yeah.
We gotta start
Crazy
innovating,
to think
boys.
about,
Come
yes.
on.
These teams have just been clinging to the same 3-site rotation. We have no data to look at this main floor bomb site, but action will begin. The most banned operator in North America. On attack, Ying send out the Candelas, but Gomez dies early. A very poor start in this matchup for Gomez, now sitting at 0-4, Nick.
Yeah, very poor start, and all the start for Sport. So good at getting those opening duels. And you see M80 again, you see the outlines. They are sprinting back to the side. Same story, every single bomb site. Get opening pick, that's their win condition, fall back. On basement, they kill the ram, soft destruction, that's vital. Here, they kill the Ying, that's the execute operator for the bomb site push later on, also very vital. The only cherry on top would have been if they bandit trick the wall. They don't, it's not worth the risk, but then look at that, Sport's there! He finds another kill. It's almost like Sport just knows exactly where he will be playing at, and he posts up, he holds the angle, he waits, and he gets what looks like a freebie time and time again.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Oh, Spoit's got them all so far. How many more can he collect? Yaga suffering some damage. He and Newer's working together in Logi. They're the last opportunity for OXG to win this round. There's Spoit with a 4. An impact as well. In beautiful fashion, the Deagle is there to give him the ace. Spoit, all 5 kills. M80 don't lose a single player. A flawless round with an ace to boot. It's effectively perfect. M80 can be happy about that one, and it will be a round soon to forget for OXG.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact order of all the games that's been going on so far, but Spoit got an ace in like the 1 or 2 games ago as well. And it's the same thing. It's the Deagle as that final kill. It's the classic Spoit. I said it last time. Whenever he goes for these plays, it's always a Deagle in the final kill. Whether it's a 3K, a 4K, or an ace, it's the same story every single time. And Spoit makes it look so easy in that round. I mean, it's not even really like gunfights that are happening. It's just a Spoit fight. No one's really either shooting back, or at the very least, it doesn't look like they stand much of a chance when they are shooting back. It is, I don't want to say a one-man performance right now, because maybe they are playing around it very well as a team. They are strengthening those player positions. They're giving Spoit the freedom to go for those engagements. And whenever they get the opening pick to start things off, they together as a team play the same strat of falling back and playing keep away near the bomb site. And then they lash out again, Spoit, as we saw. Now we saw Spoit in the corner on the Kaid hiding that operator pick. they're hiding it in hopes of the opponent maybe not taking the Thatcher, or at the very least not being ready for the kite to be in play. Those two kite claws will go on the catwalk rafters to deny that portion of the map. Then they have Cameraman on the bandit to first trick the walls. Then they have a mirror window pre-placed as well on the exterior breach to then open it and impact trick with Noodle on the Asami. So this is what we call a breach deny strat, where the whole goal is to try and force out as many EMPs and as much hard destruction as humanly possible. And I don't know what that single Selma charge was about from Newers. I guess they didn't know there was a bandit either and gambled the fact that there was no denying on the wall. Here goes the MP, double Selma. Maybe one will get tricked, but that wall will get opened up at least a little bit by those Selma charges.
Citizen down below will suffer at the hands of Yaga. Still alive, but worse for it. If you recall, the previous execute onto this bomb site by OXG was stopped for a variety of reasons, but one of them was Citizen's late flank through garage up rafters.
Yeah.
If you've been able to tear this much out of his life, then he's not going to be as effective. I mean, obviously, he's playing on Mira, Nick, so he's not going to be doing the same thing as he did previously on Solus. M80 has been swapping up their D-strats so far. Gomez gets his first kill, and then immediately gives quite a sassy shrug.
So it seems like OXG will simplify this round. Last time they tried to do everything all at once. It does appear from the play position that they want to just go for a catwalk take against Noodle. Last time it worked, they killed Noodle on the catwalk rafters, they walked up catwalk control, but nobody was behind the munching support afterwards. Citizen, he climbed the ladder last time. Now he's playing downstairs, looking for a kill on the staircase, supporting Noodle in that front 4 position, but there's 4 players from OXG to take him down.
I was wrong about Citizen. Look where he is. He sits in oil pit.
Might try again later round.
He knows exactly where at least 2 players from OXG are. He can hear the footprints, or you can hear the footsteps. You can't see the footprints, but is instead going to give this information. And look at that. Diaz and Dream have gotten so close, but there's no rotate in the wall, just a line of sight. There goes one of the hard panels. Dream should be able to walk in. Citizen's still waiting for this call. But Citizen will eventually have to go in a hurry to join the rest of M80. You are running out of time. Cameraman chased off his position, and here comes Citizen to the rescue. That's the question. He takes out Diaz. Call will go off again. A nitro cell in hand for Citizen to toss out. The Dream getting Diffuser down successfully. The 2 kills from Citizen are in vain. OXG picks up their 2nd round victory.
You have to wonder whether Citizen got spotted by a drone or something because he was really eager to get that initial pick, because there's a world in which he just walks up that catwalk rafters and just denies the plant near 0 seconds, runs away, and they win on time. But that's an impossible decision to talk about in hindsight. It's not fair at all, because we can sit and go, oh yeah, just wait, kill the plants and run away, right? Easy. Citizen, of course, saw the pressure on the bombs that was getting way too much, and the timing, it looked like Citizen was a little bit late, but frankly, I think he did it at a perfect moment. If he goes any earlier, odds are OXG will be ready for it, or he can't get close enough to get that first kill. And OXG, likewise, did a really good play. They didn't just plant default against the Toxic Babes or a possible C4. They went deep in towards the bomb side and took bomb side control, got the kills inside, and then they didn't have any chance of getting C4'd randomly from below lounge. So I think that's more well played by OXG than mistimed by M80. Facing bomb side the final round in the first half. We saw M80 go 50-50 so far, losing the first time by throwing bodies into the blender of blue against Newers, and that second time, well, OXG struggled to get open the kitchen hatch and allowed M80 to like thrive on the bomb side, positions that normally you can't really play in if that hatch were to be opened up. Operators, nothing really too crazy from either side. It's been a very consistent set of operators. M80, they wanted utility on the basement, of course. Jammers, the mirrors, the Wamai, the Simon, the Warden. Nothing out of the ordinary. And for OXG, it's just a matter on whether they're gonna bring the Ying or not. So far, the Ying has been kind of meh, because Gomez has died last time he played the operator very early on, and we didn't see those Candelas in effect whatsoever. It's really been the Grim on York that's been the bigger story for this basement attack that single-handedly gave Newers the intel to get those kills the first time around. So they got power operators to choose between, but the bigger focus point for me, get those hatches opened up if you're Oxygen. This time, there's no Kaid to deny you.
OXG have for so long relied on, at least in this stage, their top players. That hasn't been the story so far for them, as they've been in a constant back and forth with M80. M80 obviously coming out ahead at the moment. The 3-3 half is doable.
Yeah.
If you can have Gomez wake up, if you can have Newers start to dominate these games the way that he did earlier in the stage, then well, it will rely an awful lot on M80 superstars themselves to come alive. And it's been Spoit understanding the mission since the very beginning. 10 kills through 5 rounds. All 5 kills in round number 4. The rest of the team combining for 8 kills. So kill Spoit, win round. I see that might be the play here for Oxygen.
I like that. It's a very simple strat. Just, you know, Newers go kill Spoit. Okay, win the round. Easy peasy. Very efficient use of time though from OXG. Getting mirror windows, soft destruction, get up all those hatches. But again, M80 didn't have a roaming presence. They're not playing kite this time. They're starting in that 5v5 turtle position, and they only have one real way to deny a plant attempt here. That's a single C4 from Citizen. So if they get the Candelas out, the Bees out, and get to a stable plant position, they can likely just go for a simple plant. They don't gotta go too crazy here.
Candelas will go down, and Dream has found an opportunity. M80 answers back. Dream dies to Spoit. Now it's Noodle to be dropped. Newers amidst the chaos might find a way into Moto. He does, but Church is gonna have to hit the Kiba barrier. Gets swung by Spoit, and Newers punishes him for that. Now it's Yaga over towards Blue. M80 constantly caught looking in the wrong direction. It's all up to Cameraman to clutch out. He stops Gomez from getting the diffuser down. 5 seconds left, and it's Newers to be the hero. The first half, 3-3.
It's so chaotic. So I actually like the execute there from OXG. Besides the fact the plant didn't go down the first time around, it was pretty much the Bees all over Blue, Candelas all over side, and I think it's Spoit to get a wall bang to take down the planter essentially. They didn't use all their Candelas, they didn't use their smoke grenades either necessarily, and it was a bit messy. But then OXG, okay, plan A failed, what can we do now? Well, it's killing time. Drop those hatches, walk into those doors, and get active on the bomb side. Because they injured Noodle on the Warden inside of Blue earlier, he was proning away, and they were trying to revive him essentially in the round, meaning that 2 guns weren't ready for a fight. So OXG, despite losing that opening pick in the beginning, well, because 2 players were doing something else in defense, they actually still had that equal or advantageous position. Fox said it on the desk before the game started. I agreed with him right when the first round began. We both wanted to see OXG go 3-3 on the attack for it to look good. They get the 3-3. And the reason why this is not like a 2-4 side favoring defense is very much because Clubhouse comes down to execution and understanding the strategical elements of Rainbow Six Siege. If you are a good attacking team, you can pick apart every single setup, every single bomb site, and you can quite literally win off of execution and utilizing your operators correctly. And you might go, oh, that's every bomb site. It really isn't. That's not every single map. That is like the special aspect of Clubhouse and why it is that good attacker teams can look so perfect. So now we gotta see on the side swap. M80, they're a great team on defense. They're great at getting the opening kill, and they're excellent at converting it into a round victory. But now they gotta do it on the attack. We speak about the power operators. We saw OXG, they're playing Grim Ying. You see M80, play those same operators. Because the capital was banned out by Oxygen themselves, you cannot bring those capital fire arrows that normally is your way forward. Instead it's Ying, instead it's Grim. Of course you got Spoit in the entry on Finger. A very scary operator in the hands of Spoit.
To that point, is there a single operator in the hands of Spoit that
isn't scary?
isn't scary?
I thought the same thing. I was like, that's just a Spoit thing, you know? But I think a lot of people like myself, we have like that slight trauma from Finger LMG meta for a while. And while Finger doesn't have the LMG right now by Spoit, you hear those adrenal surges on defense. You know the attackers are boosted up, they're overhealed. If you injure someone, they'll get immediately revived, you know, globally across the map. It just has that fear factor, I think, if you were a player doing that active Finger meta. At least that's how I feel.
I mean, we can kill just about anything or anybody you put in front of him,
Yep.
and especially if Yaga offers his life up on a silver platter like that. Blue is open. What are you attempting? That's the real question. Were they not aware of M80 sitting perched on top of blue? It's a bit of a brazen play, by the way. Could be a nitro cell, a blow up Noodle. There's 2 on the boards, but fearless in this spot, and they must have gotten a read from a drone that nothing lies in wait of him.
Oh, well. You said, there it is, instant revive across the map. There we see instantaneously. Noodle popped the wall with the shotgun upstairs, setting up the pillar plant position with the diffuser, where you go bottom main, sprint into side, and then try and plant.
M80 unhappy about how close this first half has been. They will now exact their revenge on OXG. Candelas to go off. Kino now left without any utility whatsoever. Spoiled another kill. M80 looking for a flawless round and a single bullet. That's it. Did you see that? Just one. All right.
Beautiful.
It's all smiles for M80 as they prevail in their first attack.
Speaking of executes being clean, if you're like a good attacking team, there was so much intel on the side of M80. Kino dropped the hatch into a mirror window, into a double rotate into church, and didn't even worry about any potential threats because they knew with drone intel and the Grimpies, it's clear. He walked all the way through the entire bomb set, knowing exactly where every single defender were, and could just one-tap the guy playing AKs who was absolutely blinded by those Candelas. The intel gave from 80, excellent. Opening kill, excellent. And so far, they appear to be the team that is setting the pace and taking control of most of these rounds.
I mean, these teams have been very scrappy so far. It's, you know, there's been a couple flawless rounds, obviously, for M80. It's their second flawless round so far in this matchup. But outside of that, it has been a dogfight between these teams, which is what you expect when you look at the level of competition in NA. More importantly, the caliber of these teams. They both sit first and second. This is a fight for first place, effectively. If one of these teams gets all 3 points, first place is theirs. That's it. That's how it works. Doesn't matter which one it is. They, you know, M80 obviously trail OXG. OXG has held on to first place in this region for so long, but M80 has shown that they can easily keep pace. And if you want to be the best, you need to beat the best. And that's M80's mantra coming into this matchup. But it has been quite scrappy. And these teams are familiarized with each other, right? M80 borrowed Yaga for a period of time. This is a whole different look to M80, so it's not like he will have the keys to the castle, so to speak. He's likely familiar with Kino's style of play. Yaga and Kino have been friends for a long time. They've gamed together before. It was Gomez and Diaz, who are also former members of M80, who've now jumped over to OXG. I do wonder if it's in a way personal for these players. But whether you can set aside that personal focus or not, the thing you want is you want to finish top of the league. That's it. And both teams are in a position to do that, and they're both playing like it as well.
They are here to play, that is certain. It's been, I don't know. I would like to see a little bit more spice from OXG. They've been playing a very kind of like standard, stable, and I want to say like predictable clubhouse thus far. They had 2 multi-rounds. It was okay. It worked one time, didn't work the other one. But here in defense, I want to see them get a little bit more proactive, if you will. We saw M80 roaming, extending, etc., doing a good job at denying entry pathways. OXG to start basement, that is often gonna go, okay, you're not gonna go too crazy in the room, of course. But when they go to CC, when they go Gym Master Bedroom, I would like to see OXG do more of what M80 were doing, where you extend the crush, you know, you're happy to go for a flank somewhere, seek out those like opening duels, fighting your opponent. Because if the attackers get to the side in that 5 versus 5 or 4 versus 4, you have really good utility operators to deal with the side. And that's what we see, for example, with the Grim and the Ying, where you can't really fight back unless you're a Warden, but that's 1 out of 4 or 5 defenders. That's not going to cover the entire bomb side, but just a small portion of it. So I think it's important to strike out first before attackers get comfortable with that setup to execute.
I have to assume that this tech pause right now is due to a player issue. We have all the players rejoining the lobby at the moment, just waiting on 1 to 2 more to get in before we can get back underway. This is the level of competition I expected between these two. I honestly thought this would be the kind of match that DZ and Wildcard would engage in. Obviously, for those that watched the first match, you know what the result was. For those that haven't, let's just say that it wasn't a particularly close game. Experience at the end of the day won out. You look at the matchups that we have for the rest of the day, and it's entirely possible that they go the full distance as well. 4-3 scoreline for M80 leads me to believe that OXG is going to pick up at least, at very minimum, 2 rounds now that they are on defense, which means that doesn't matter how many M80 wins, we're in for a relatively long matchup, which is good. East Coast and Los are up next. Sonics and LG are up next. With the way that Sonics have played over the last couple play days, though, that LG Sonics match could potentially be one-sided. But it also really depends on what LG is going to be playing for. For Sonics, there's nothing on the line at this point, right?
Yeah.
Sonics are 3 points ahead of Los. So in that sense, even if Los wins, they have the tiebreaker over you. Sonics have the tiebreaker, 7-5. So even if Los gets all 3 points, in theory, Sonics aren't going to move. It's impossible for Sonics to catch Wildcard Gaming. Wildcard's 4 points ahead of Sonics, 3 points for a win. So Sonics' position's not going to change. So what is SQ playing for? Well, they're playing for those game day reps. There was a lot of criticism targeted towards Sonics with the roster moves that happened during the offseason. I mean, it's idle speculation, and I can't speak to the team. I have faith in all of these organizations competing in the NA League to make the right decisions for their team and for their roster. Maybe Sonics wanted to make these changes. Maybe they didn't want to make them, and they responded as best as they can. The one thing that is certain is that the more game day reps you get, the better shape you will be in. I doubt Sonics are going to take the day off, especially since, you know, they're a team that has something to prove. The Sonics play like they almost have a chip on their shoulder, and it oftentimes leads to good siege. It's been a rough stage for them, though. SSG has the day off. As for Beast Coast versus Los, it'll be Los trying to prove that they are not the worst team in the North American League. Beast Coast will be licking their chops because they could conceivably leapfrog up into the top 2, depending on what the results are here.
So a bit of counterplay there from M80 where they're hovering the Muncie for a long while, but then they saw the smoke, the Tashanga, and the Legion on Catwalk Rafters to deny them a potential Muncie play. So OXG are forcing M80 for a connector master bedroom attack, and they know this because no team is crazy enough to try and attempt to go Muncie Catwalk against those 3 operators that heavily counter that operator. So I think for this round, we need to see OXG have a solid plan to deal with this. And we see Newers inside master bedroom / bathroom. We saw Yawk and Connector holding office hatch drop. OXG, they're playing both sides right now. And M80, they're struggling to problem solve. I say struggling because they're just taking their time. They're all on the roof, waiting for the right positions. You gotta, cameraman, get the intel, make the call, 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then go.
Will drop, and all those bullets do not help him take down Yaga. Spoit drops as well, but is retrieved immediately. Not by a person, but by an adrenal surge. Cameraman, the first kill for M80. Yaga has had a very good game so far. You do not necessarily want to lose him, but here's another player who's been lights out. Newer punishing Cameraman, who, well, runs into Newer's line of sight inside a bathroom. M80 now trailing. Another adrenal surge, but not a lot of time left, and they're going to be in a very vulnerable position. They get to vault through those windows. OXG are going to be prepped to greet them because Newers is still roaming over towards construction. Situated inside a bedroom. Down goes Citizen. Down goes Spoit. Down goes Noodle. That's a lockout from OXG. M80 were in such a bad spot. And they had to take constant, unfavorable gunfights. This is as close as it's going to get. 4 rounds for both these teams.
That round checked all my boxes that I want to see out of OXG. When when they play CCTV Gym, I want to see them play across the map, extend, and play proactively. They did exactly that. But they added that spice that I was talking about earlier that I said, oh, I'm missing a bit of spice here, guys. They played Tashanga, Legion, Smoke on CCTV for the sole reason of denying the Munchie Garage, basically. And M80, they were going to play it. And they genuinely changed their entire attacking approach and used an operator lineup likely because of it. And then, you know as a defender, they're gonna go Master Bedroom Gym, and they hold it. Newers never let go of that portion of the map, and we got 2 kills in the round. Yogg got the opening of the office hatch drop, and I feel like M80, they hadn't really faced that scenario before. At least, it didn't look like they had the best read on it. They kind of belly flop dropped the office hatch, hoping to win a gunfight that's 50-50. When they had smokes, that flashbangs, that Yink and Delas, I feel like M80 had more options and just kind of went for the simple, let's just be the better players and win those gunfight engagements. Well, guess what? They didn't that time around. And because that it's tied up, Oshi cannot play that other bomb, so we can do the same thing, extend out around the map. One mirror window goes for that jacuzzi breach inside the bathroom, and the second mirror window will be rotated around for Gomez, likely waiting to see what the push is gonna be. Right now it's gonna be in pocket. They have impact grenades, they have C4s, they got that extension, they got my discs. Once again, they need to problem solve 2 different setups, both the roam and the side. If you mess up on one of them, that could be the round over.
Oh, that Selma works, and he will now try to pop open the other wall inside of the actual site. As all this hard breach from M80 does not find much contest. Opening up jacuzzi wall. The pathways in are clear. Bomb site is not cache CCTV, though an extension out to this part of the map is relatively common. He will have to essentially be flank watch on his own. On rafters. Good pace so far by M80 to open all this up within the first minute of the round.
Oh yeah, this is a much better pace, and now they will actually have like more time to deal with the issues and get that intel. They see, okay, shield top red, 2 players roaming, these are the operators, and now it looks like they're gonna challenge it. No more, guys, they're holding it, let's rotate around, it's like, go somewhere else. No, they know where they're playing at, they're gonna pick it apart, but again, M80, they've seen this setup before. This is more common, so they can just walk in, do self-destruction, take the gunfights, and this time actually win out.
Diaz completely blinded, as you see, not just on his screen, but also a webcam down below. 8 kills to his name. Tied with Newers. Cameraman, though, leveling up at this point, and it's Diaz shot away at. His feet showing just beneath that Kiba barrier. M80's got 2 flawless rounds so far. They're 2 kills away from pulling it off yet again. They have the last 2 anchors to deal with. Gomez inside the site. Just a few steps off now, looking towards construction. Eliminates Spoit, so no flawless round, and that's a big casualty too. Now it's all up to Gomez. Isolated in his position, Goo Mines will get hit. He knows where they're coming from. He has to find the kills flashed out as the nitro cell goes off. Completely blind, circling around the back of bathroom, but the mirror window, his own device, will work against him. Fuser's gone down, but it doesn't matter because all it was a single kill looting M80. They find it, they get the round, and again, back and forth we go.
Back and forth is certainly how it looks like this is gonna go, because especially now that base bombs that opens up again for XG, that could set us that 5-5 scoreline. And M80, whenever they see a setup on attack, like from the attacker side that they've seen before, they have, again, the immediate solutions to problems. Drone in, ash breach the shield, walk in, get the kill, breach open the wall, lock down Gomez on the run back, and guarantee that they get 2 kills there. And worst case scenario there on the attacking side from M80, they will trade, because they will either clear out that roam game or they will all die trying. And usually in that position, it's not the strongest thing to hold as a defender. You will get 1 or 2 kills in the attack. So again, M80, they play that early advantage. They cut the map in half and they just take it 1 piece at a time. And Sport in the injury so far, very lethal, both on defense and the attack. If OXG can shut him down, I think they have a great shot at these rounds, but it's easier said than done. That CC defense wasn't the gun skill that won the round from Oxygen. It was that strategical setup on CCTV with the right operators, making it hard for Sport to take good gunfights. That's how they found their way. Now they're gonna go to basement after a tactical timeout, and again, they gotta make it difficult. Otherwise, M80, they will take over. So I like the castle here. Like the castle kind of signifies that something out of the ordinary of playing 5 guys on the side turtling is gonna be showcased in this round. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that I believe we actually need. So good read, good tactical timeout, but now it comes down to execution.
For a second there, my eyes looked up after taking some notes and thought, are we back on bar stage? But no.
No.
Wake me up from this nightmare.
Insertion. 5 seconds.
Follow along with Dream. The way that a castle is applied on this bottom floor bomb site
Locate a bomb
can be
and defuse it.
very different, and it really does come down to how teams want to go about doing this. Right now, the investment from Oxygen is to put all of those barricades, or as many as you can possibly fit, on the first floor. The double door for main door has been closed off. The double door leading from that pool table component of the first floor over towards main bar, also castled off. Stairs window castled off. Citizen was on a roam on the other side of all those barricades, and well, he goes in, takes some damage, immediately gets out. He's opened up a drop as well into blue. Pretty good value. And it's good of Citizen to do that. Should he perish, you don't want to die without making more of an impact on this site.
Looking at the demos right now, I'm curious how that's gonna be activated. It's likely for like the roam clear to isolate some players, but that's not really the goal right now for MIDI. I mean, they're holding the run backs, but they're not really moving into the building as of yet. I think they're hoping for movement from OHG, an overstep, miscalculation, and Yogg is looking, and he wins out. What a great shot. It denies Sport, takes down the demos. Now the roam will be near impossible to clear out unless they just storm the building and get crazy kills. They might opt for a side rush, but then they're struggling against those Goyo canisters that's gonna pop the fire and stall for 20 seconds.
You've seen teams wait and use that Deimos gadget in the final moments of a round, or when there's 1 or 2 players left to gain you so much valuable information. It's been fascinating watching the newest operator get used by different teams in different ways. Excuse me?
All right. Can we talk about one headshots real quick? Can we just debate the plans right now? Should they once have 2 walls? I don't know.
Okay, don't do this. Don't rile up the people watching. You and I actually agree on one-shot headshot, but it's not up to us. We're not devs. It's true. Yaga dies. Cameraman's in a strong spot inside of blue, but there's nobody watching to help him. Noodle dies now as well. M80's advantage is gone. Oh. You know, dies as one of those Candelas goes off, and now it's Citizen to do some serious work. He's got Gomez and Diaz, the 2 newest members. The M80 transplants who came over to OXG will now work against the Sonics transplant who's joined M80. Citizen's only got 20 seconds left to go.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
He's gonna shoot the Koyo canister. Gets popped up on by the shotgun. He's done. 10 rounds, 5 rounds for each team. My favorite round up next. The winner goes to match point.
Don't we all love that one? It comes down to spice. Like I love it. OXG, they play a default basement. It does not work out. They play a spicy basement, or a little bit exotic at least. It works out. They play CC in a very different manner. They win out on defense. They play a normal gym. They lose. I really feel like this comes down to M80, being a new team within this season. Cameraman are gelling in English, taking a bit of time to warm up and get familiar with the team. And it's very difficult to lead as a captain for any roster if you don't have your default setups. When you see a CCTV defense and nothing's out of the ordinary, we all know what we can do in the round. We know our options, we know our possibilities, we know how we can attack or repick. But again, when you see this lineup, where it's like, okay, let's take Muncie Gatwalk. It's a Shanka, it's kind of sucks, there's a smoke, kind of sucks as well. But the difference is now, they have seen this before, because OXG did the same thing last time. There's only one change-up. Gomez, instead of being Legion, is now a Sami, likely to take Newers' spot inside a master bedroom connector. And then Newers himself is getting active on Solus downstairs. And he has those impact grenades. He can go for a run out, he can go for a flank. If anybody's joining in a bad position from M80, he can likely get an easy pick because of that Solus intel. which is an operator that we haven't seen all that much of in this particular matchup from either team. So it could be a small surprise factor if he has gone undrowned in that prep phase.
Citizen was the player on M80 that we saw tackling Deimos just a couple games ago, and I'll go back on it. Citizen's style of Siege is a fascinating thing to watch. It reminds me a lot of when Laxing used to play, which is you are oftentimes on your own. Refer to it as either a flank role, it can be a lurk role, because flanking and lurking are very different. Lurking wasn't even really a word that was used in Rainbow Six for a long time. It was always referred to as a flanker or a roamer. So now you talk about lurking. If there's anybody who jumps to mind, it's really Citizen. He plays in positions on the map that are often not necessarily that important to hold, but as long as he can avoid being droned, he's in excellent place to exploit a late round push. And with the way we've been seeing the meta unfold, late round pushes are pretty much all that happens these days, unless you see a very quick rush strat. He withheld using those death marks for quite a while in the previous times he's played Deimos. This time around, make no mistake about it, and use it relatively early. Yaga dies, that's the first casualty. CCTV breach has been opened up. Spoit now sitting inside of CCTVs. That's where Yaga had died. That's the bomb site, by the way.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of the bomb site. Noodle just needs to walk in with the diffuser, and well, it could be a quick and free plant for M80, but Spoit doesn't know where the assault is going to appear from, and he picks the wrong direction. Nick, M80 in control of the site for so long.
That's so awkward. Lewis on the fire? Oh no.
Not ideal for M80. Not one bit. Newer's still downstairs, still evading whatever M80 wants to send in his direction. OXG looking to do something they have not done much of in the last couple games, which is lead a match. They're a single kill away from pulling it off. They heard what we had to say about this team. We heard about them. Oh, they've been the best team in NA for so long. Are they about to lose their grip on it? Not likely. They win the round and they go to match point over M80.
That's gotta be the most chaotic round we've seen so far here in Clubhouse. I mean,
Oh, it was a mess.
it's a complete disaster. Like, they're in the bomb site, Sports fighting 4 different angles, no one really knows what's happening. They can't clear catwalk, they can't clear top, they can't do the bomb site. He gets impact grenaded, he swings, there's a guy, chaos in the server. Newer's flying Scarage, no one is there from the attackers, then he dies. It's just, I don't know. I feel like neither side really had a exact idea of what was actually going on, and they all just lived in the chaos and hope that they would come out in the better end. And I mean, it's no surprise that a tactical time will be called here from M80, because it is all or nothing right now. They gotta win this upcoming round, take us to overtime, or they will lose out in regulation. I want more of that.
I mean, I'm enjoying what we're watching so far. I would like overtime as well. As Jacob pointed out on the desk, overtime brings different implications to the race to the top. Let me do some basic math here. If M80 wins in overtime, they will finish with 16 points. OXG would lose in overtime, therefore, but still pick up 1 point, and they would finish with 16 points.
Attackers need to locate
If
and
Beast
defuse bomb.
Coast is able to win their matchup against Los and get all 3 points in regulation, they would also finish with 16 points. We would have 3 teams sitting with 16 points, which, as far as I'm aware, and of course I'm no admin here, and we would need the admins to do the work. I'm sure the desk probably has this mapped out. There is no direct tiebreaker. It goes into a mini tourney where it gets a little bit more confusing. A 3-way tie for first place in the NA League. I'm manifesting it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, M80 and OXG fans, but Beast Coast fans, rejoice.
Attackers are heading out to
I have
defuse the bomb.
faith. Beast Coast, by the way, has the best round differential of any team in the North American League.
What?
They are actually tied with OXG for the fewest rounds dropped.
That's crazy.
Beast Coast sitting at a plus 10 round differential, having lost 32 rounds. OXG has lost 32 rounds, but OXG's been far more efficient with their victories. As Beast Coast has 4 victories, OXG has 5 victories, and OXG got that done with 39 rounds. So very lopsided matchups for OXG. Beast Coast has had to grind, but they've still come out ahead of the better round differential of all of the teams. East Coast has been quite the story, and we'll talk about them in the next matchup. But until we get there, 2 minutes. That's all it could take. OXG stumbling. They could hold on to first overall in the NA League if they prevail in this round, or they lose here but still prevail in overtime.
A little bit surprised that Kino doesn't just repel to avoid community and instead makes Cameraman work for it by throwing down those EMPs. None left for the bomb site execute. So Cameraman is now a free gun. He can become the entry if he needs to. Same with Kino now with his second wall popped. This basically means that every single player besides Citizen on the Ying can just run in and trade their buddies for either for a kill or for bomb site control. And you also got Noodle on the armor roll, mind you, so they can go very quick when they have to. But they want to get this opening kill first onto the Solus to ensure that they get that manpower advantage. Oh, he's out of there. Oh, he's so out of there. A good read from Yogg. Losing Solus early would be really, really bad. You don't have that downstairs play. You can't see where the plant is going down. And when that chaos happens from the Ying, you want to have the Solus and the Warden alive to like figure out what actually is going on.
Boy, we'll begin to creep up red stairs now as we have the final minute of the round, and Yaga dies to Cameraman. It was Yaga who was roaming earlier. Down goes Gomez. They'll trade back and forth. M80 coming out ahead. Noodle, the wild card, as he sprints in with shotgun in hand. Diaz manages to get out of there, but M80 says, you're not going away that easy. Overtime on the books, and this is where the standings get very interesting. Both teams now guaranteed 1 point at minimum. All 3 points for a victory, gone.
I love this. I mean, it just gets more and more chaotic. I mean, okay, CC was the most chaotic, but ever since we got into like the late stages nearing a victory or a loss, it's just been getting crazier and crazier. But that was a very clean execute from M80. And again, I think it comes down to the fact that they were able to get everyone's job done that round before they execute. Nobody was like, oh, you know, I can't risk dying. I haven't done my job. I haven't broken that wall. I haven't, you know, thrown this area. No. Everybody became just a gun for hire. And it just all went for those kills. Nobody had any fear. And the armor of Noodle just flying in the window only gets 1 shotgun kill, sure enough, but because you're in so quickly, you know bathroom is clear, you know master bedroom is clear, that one of those last 2 defenders have to be inside of gym is the only like undetected area of the bomb site, unless you drop downstairs. So they get so much crucial intel, even if Noodle only gets a singular kill, because that he moves so much across the map. Now, things will stay the same for overtime. M80, they will be on attack, and OXG will be on defense. This is arguably a good thing for both teams, given that they're 3 and 3.5. But I do think that the more you start attacking, you get a slight advantage on maps that are not heavily defender-sided. Because the thing is, the more times M80 get to attack, the more they know what to expect. They've seen the setups before, unless OXG make a drastic change in their orbital lineup or how they play a particular bomb site. So, with an experienced IGL like Cameraman, the more info you have to work with, the better these decks will go.
OXG will ride on defense at least once, potentially twice, if we need the 3rd and final round of overtime. The way these teams have played, 3-3 halves should be no surprise. There's no greater side, no attacker buff, no defender buff. It's just good, balanced siege, frankly. And it's been, I mean, it's been chaotic and it's been scrappy, it's been messy, it's been all those words that we've used before, Nick, but it's still been enjoyable. And sometimes it doesn't need to be beautiful to be something enjoyed. I thrive in the chaos.
I was gonna say, I thrive in the chaos. Yeah, I like chaos.
I can thrive in the chaos.
I want more of it. I mean, I want to get crazier and crazier, just like ramping up round by round, especially in overtime, because some teams, they'll go quiet into the night in overtime because they're scared of losing. We see M80, you know, they're playing blitz. They're not going to go quietly into OT. They're going to say, okay, we want to do a kitchen attack. Open kitchen hatch, do vertical destruction, maybe get moto hatch, go third with the blitz, and go bang. Big fighting. The big thing right now is it's Stream on the Maestro playing inside a dirt tunnel. Not the greatest operator against the Blitz, and he should be stuck because that kitchen hatch has been opened up. You got the line of sight towards third door. So this is a matter of Kino getting in, fighting Maestro, and taking him down, rendering those evil eyes useless besides just raw intel. Oh, he actually just ran out. Okay, that's... No one was holding the angle from kitchen hatch. That's unfortunate. Bit of an oversight there. That should have been a kill onto the Maestro, but now they don't get that, and they give out the fact that they have a Blitz in play as well. So now OXG have a better read on what the take might be.
See, you know, leaning in real life, just try to around the shield to try to get as much of a viewing angle as humanly possible. Citizen looked like he was in trouble. Kino dies to Dream, mowed down, but there's Spoit breaching in, taking no prisoners.
Not again.
How does he get it done? What does Spoit have to do to find all these openings? Goodness gracious. Absolutely heroic efforts in a number of rounds now, and M80 will take the lead in overtime.
There are not many better feelings for a player, especially in entry, than getting like a lot of kills in quick succession. You're just heating up. You can see it. Spoit, he doesn't slow down after he gets the first 2 kills because he's really feeling it, right? And when you're winning so many gunfights, you feel like no one can stop you. Look at the kill count: 15, 16, 17. With the pistol whip, 18 kills. He got an ace earlier in like round number 4. He got a 4K. Like, I think Spoit was the sole factor for why they won. I mean, sure, they could have won without him, but he makes it so much easier. And you have to look at the scoreline, 7-6. Look at the kills, 18 on Spoit. The second person, 8 on Cameraman. Spoit is getting all the opening kills on attack and defense, and it's making M80 fight 5 versus 4 more often than not, and had that great chance of just breaking apart the bomb sites without relying on utility. M80 made a mistake last round. They should have held Dream stuck inside a dirt tunnel because there was no Asami being played. There was no way Dream should be allowed to run back to a strong position when he was in dirt against the Blitz. But they make that mistake. But then again, they got Spoit. It doesn't matter. Hello, Gomez. Goodbye, Gomez.
That just looked like a ceiling. I mean, I don't...
Yeah, it was. So his camera keeps tilting, and then he keeps adjusting it, and then it tilts again. I don't know. It's not cooperating whatsoever. It's hard, you know. And you got the... If you're not a streamer, even if you are a streamer, right? You know, we're all lazy people sometimes. It's hard to deal with cameras when you're, quote-unquote, working from home. It's not like you're in a studio, like at a LAN, where like it's set up for you and all you gotta do is show up. No, you gotta put in effort. Look at Lucas Newer's cam. It's just a monitor, a black t-shirt, and a chin. You know, but at least we can see him. That's good. It's better than Gomez, at least. Come on, guys. Branding, right? We gotta see your face. We gotta know who you are.
I keep meaning to ask Newers why he uses the same green skin and plasma pink housing. Looks very similar to a watermelon. And then ask Citizen why he uses ammunitions charm on every single gun. I mean, surely there's a reason for these things, and I'm curious to know what they are.
I feel that. What's the story? That's what we should ask in interviews afterwards. What's the story there?
The story. You'll only be able to talk to one of them, though, because obviously with them being on competing sides, you're only going to get one interview. Right now, M80 poised to do that interview. Obviously incumbent upon a successful round, either right now or on their next attack. Again, the sides being 3-3, no side, no team, no side is a greater advantage. It's just going to come down to who is cleaner executes or who has better defenses. M80 snapped their fingers on attack. Spoit in particular picked up 4 kills in the previous round. 18 kills for Spoit so far. It's been an impressive showing. He had an ace earlier. A big round from him, and that might be enough. Kino manages to get away, but Newers gives his position away over towards blue. Final 40 seconds now. OXG getting into position. Newers hoping for something over towards blue. Can't find anything. Looking to get swung on by Citizen. Kino's not far away. Newers, flash goes out. Kino dropping newer. Citizen can push up towards blue.
Oh.
But he's a bit too hasty. The look of surprise on his face gives it all away. And there's OXG coming out ahead in the killings, at least briefly. They regain their advantage, as now it's all up to Spoit to clutch.
10 seconds remaining.
Round on the line, but not the match. There's a flash to go. Spoit has the marks. 3 players from OXG, one of whom stopped to get the diffuser down. This might prove to be too much for Spoit as he needs to make his way out of church and will be confronted by several players. Gomez getting the final kill, and all 15 rounds will be needed between these juggernauts. One of them, in the next 3 minutes, will either keep first overall or jump up to that position for OXG. The NA League has been yours so far for this entire stage. Are you going to lose your grip at the final moment? We'll find out.
I really respect the attack there. They just committed to blue so hard. Now, normally it's like, okay, you send 1 player, 2 players, whatever. It's like 4 players. They bulldozed their way through that area and they've never surrendered it. Like, it was a very clean or clear win condition. We need blue control and we don't matter what's gonna cost us. And it worked. They overman that position of the map and they get in. And just like previously, they plant by that third box position and the defenders, they can't see it. There's no C4s, they can't shut it down, they can't stop it. Now, actually they go on attack, or so they go on defense, and they go back to the CCTV bomb site. The third Tashanka so far, all 3 times played on CCTV, and it's been successful both times. OXG with a 100% win rate over 2 attempts with Tashanka. Kind of crazy. And again, they're trying to pick around likely the Monty and the Plant Deny with these operators. And once again, M80, they're not going on to Monty. They've been locked out of that option because of the lesion on Smoke and Tashanka. So again, M80, they've seen this exact setup before. It's Neurus playing Master Bedroom, it's Yogg playing Connector, and the last 2 players playing towards the bomb site and Garage, with that being the win condition. So they know what it's gonna look like. They've picked up the floors of all operators on Spoit to, I guess, problem solve one way or another. So Spoit is not gonna be the entry likely. He's gonna at least first spend the, half the round, get those Reterra drones out, clear out some soft utility, and then become an entry later on. But this could mean it's a slow round approach for M80, where time might be a factor.
Well, either way, I think we can sit back and be... Well, we can revel in the fact that this has been one of the most competitive games in the entirety of the NA League. We have not had a lot of overtime matches so far, just a few overtimes throughout all of the play days. It has been not lopsided, but usually when a team is better, they're just better. Neither of these teams have been able to shake one another through this matchup. And again, this is what you come to expect when you've got 2 teams that are sitting at the top of the league.
The opening kill has been very important for both teams so far, and it's a very simple stat, right? Get opening kill, win the round. It's not that simple, but it has played a major effect because of how chaotic it's been. You want to have more guns against your opponent because it gets so tense in those final moments. This Candela, this push door catwalk might get the attacker's opening pick if they can advance up that staircase.
Kino will just charge on in. That was a very brazen play. It works out. Big gamble, but M80 will lose a lot of HP in the process. Where Kino and Spoit added together is still less than 1 full player, so you got to be careful in this final moment. There is a smoke on the board, so Kino, if he inhales too much of that gas, will die very quickly. Also with Tachanka. So lots of damage over time that can be done.
Lots of Plant Deny, 35 seconds. Maybe they gotta flood the bomb site, I think, here, or just try and plant, I guess, in the breach.
Flashes to go in. Kino, a big round so far. 2 kills. Diffuser goes down. OXG seems to be none the wiser. Yaga the first one to draw blood on his team side, but they are falling apart. OXG in a lot of trouble. Kino, a 3rd kill. They benched him for SI, but in the most pivotal round of this stage, Kino gets the 4K to give M80 the win, and they will take over first place. M80 have looked like the best team in the NA League, until the final play day. M80 says, nope, not you, OXG. It's us.
I like this new look from Kino as well. You know, Kino, last year, you and I kind of memed on him. He was playing Monty. He was kind of not doing too hot. And maybe they start the season banning Monty in a majority of their games. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a counter to enemy, but also to not make Kino play that operator and crotch on it. Now we're seeing Kino and Ying getting proactive, getting opening kills, being a bigger part of the team atmosphere. And I think his overall performance has also shined. It's been a really good upgrade and look for him in this team.
Yeah, I mean, the desk will be able to dive into those numbers a little bit better than we will, because we just have a couple moments now before we toss back to them. But Kino certainly passes what's called the eye test, which is that he just looks like he's playing better. The numbers might back it up, they might not. But at the end of the day, he seems to be playing with far more confidence, and he seems to be fitting into the mold of this new M80 roster. We're halfway done the play day, though. M80 takes first place in the NA League with a victory over OXG. There could be a third team to finish with 16 points. Beast Coast is up next. Will they do the unthinkable and sit at the top of NA as well? We'll find out in a couple minutes.
Well, that matchup was supposed to be who was in first place. It was supposed to lock it in. It was supposed to make sure we knew who was getting a bye. We kind of have an answer to one of those questions, but we actually still don't know who was finishing the round robin of this stage in first place. What this game has done is just complicate everything even more, because now both teams are tied at the very top of the standings list with the same number of points overall. So you might think it comes down to round diff. Well, it still does, but then there's another game in game 3 that might determine someone else who jumps into top place. So M80 and Oxygen had a phenomenal game. It win 8-7, but it just makes life harder for the rest of us.
Yeah, I mean, I believe OXG is now the first place solidified, if I do say so
No,
myself.
they're not yet.
They're not. So
No.
it's still up to Beast Coast. If they're able to win, they
Yes.
could jump over both teams.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. What was more impressive was just the way that M80 was really taking it to OXG that whole game, really fighting OXG on all entries, where the source of the entry was going to come from. Especially on Garage, we saw a lot of aggression onto New or Dream trying to enter into Garage. We saw Spoit fighting against them, Noodle fighting against them. They didn't want to let OXG get comfortable at any point throughout this game.
Yeah, it was definitely a very competitive match. Lots of back and forth rounds. The casters were talking about it, certainly. It's unfortunate for M80 that it was so back and forth, because this is really a Pyrrhic victory. They are in a really rough spot. They've actually confirmed Oxygen's spot in the top 2. We know for a fact OXG will be getting a bye because all they needed were 7 rounds. M80 are in a difficult spot. We can break that down in a bit. But really for this matchup, I do think that M80, it was a fun game because we had the Ying on the board, right? Both teams used a lot of that Ying. We saw Kino rocking it a lot in that second half. We saw it also from OXG on the first half. So there were a lot of really strong executes, especially down and towards the basement. And I think at the end of it, right, both those teams had good pushes down on the bottom floor, which can sometimes be the toughest spot, but M80 just a little bit able to eke it out.
2 guys we need to highlight, both of them because they had phenomenal final performances in overtime on both those attack rounds. But the first guy we should talk about earlier on in the game was Kino.
Yeah, Kino, I think there's one round in particular I wanted to highlight because Kino played the Kaid super, super well. And if you're in my ranked games going forward, try to learn from this, because look at where he's putting this Kaid claw. It's right up next to the wall, just the edge of the hatch, and he wasn't sure if it would even hit the kitchen hatch, but it did. And what that meant is that it was going to be really difficult for Auction to get that hatch open. They've got the Thatcher. They've got Dream playing on the Thatcher, but he used his first EMP on the CC wall, and then he used 2 for the Moto hatch, because Kino was actively below the Moto hatch, trying to trick it with the claw. So if he hadn't used that second EMP on the Moto hatch, then the Moto hatch would have stayed closed. Instead, he uses both EMPs there, and we instead see the Hibana trying to open the kitchen hatch all by himself. And this is very common because the Hibana pellets typically have a large enough explosive radius that they can destroy the Electroclaw if you shoot them right beside the hatch. But due to where Kino put that Electroclaw, the explosion radius wasn't there. He was on the window and he wasn't able to get the claw destroyed before he ran out of X-Kairos and had to go open something else. So because of that, perfect Electric Claw placement. He was able to keep the kitchen hatch closed the entire round. They would go on to win that one. And so these are the little plays that I think Kino was doing really, really well on defense. He also had some great plays on the offense, and I think that's the little minutia which pushed M80 to win this game.
Second guy we have to talk about is Spoit, not just because we talk about him literally every single time, but he had a phenomenal 20-plus kill matchup. But one round, the round that kicked off overtime, we just have to look at again because there was so much going on. It started with dirt, it didn't end there. Round 13 was nuts.
And it came from the misdirection of how M80 plays. Kino, you'd see him in dirt as the blitz. We thought everything was going to come from him. The kitchen hatch drop with the plant. But no, it's all misdirection for Spoit to just walk down the main hall. Kino's down, no problem. Nobody's looking at Spoit down this main hall. He's not only able to get free openings, but because he had such a phenomenal game, he obviously is able to convert one opening into a multi-kill. And that just comes from the fact that the rest of his team set up around him is taking the attention away from him, taking the heat away from him. And so you never know exactly where M80 is going to come from, where the winning factor is going to come from. And even if Spoit got shut down and they wouldn't have got those picks, him walking down the hallway and getting the opening would have allowed Citizen to get that plant down. And in itself, there's not just one factor if it goes wrong, but multiple steps that they can fall back to if something doesn't work.
Yeah, we've said multiple times on this desk that this, to me, feels like Spoit's best performance since coming to the North American League. His play on this new version of M80 seems so confident. It seems so fast. He's really active to just take initiative for himself and push in on different parts of the bomb sites, different parts of the roam clear. I've really enjoyed seeing him pop off. I think he's flowing in this team so much better than what we saw from him on M80 last year. It makes me really, really happy because he is the wonder kid, right? He's a major champion. We want to see Spoit doing well, and he's been doing that so far on this team. And of course, MVP performance from him today.
And he was really successful in the Azami, and we're used to seeing him on these more aggressive ops, but we saw a lot of Kaid from him, and we most specifically saw Ace out of him. And you might be thinking, Ace, he's playing hard breach? Is Spoit the support all of a sudden? No, but this is what we're seeing in the current meta of Siege, where the secondary support is playing either a Hibana or an Ace, and they just need to stay alive. They don't need to do the heavy lifting of necessarily droning or setting up people for kills. They just focus on getting the hatches open. Once they get the hatches open, which Ace is an amazing operator to avoid the Kaid charges on basement, just so you guys know, in Jesse's rank games, not in mine. But once the Ace or the Hibana are able to use their abilities, they then just turn into the perfect entry op. And that AK-12 is the best thing for Spoit to be able to just tear through everybody when he's hitting the site.
Let's talk to Cameraman on M80 about this dub because it comes at a very interesting time, dude. Congratulations on the win, but the first part is that this game doesn't put you immediately into first, so hopefully that's something that you guys can rectify, or you'll just have to sit back and hope that you get that first round bye. But just talk to me about how the game yesterday went and what changed into today, because one of them wasn't close, and in this game you won in overtime. So what was the difference maker here?
To be honest, I think we're a team that's not together for a long time. So I think that on the last game against Beast Coast, we tried to adapt on what they're doing, and we were kind of it's not like we didn't play our game, And I think in these situations, we need to focus on our game and do what we our comfort doing, and yeah, I think we didn't show up. That's it.
Well, Cameraman, you didn't show up against Beast Coast, unfortunately, but now you are reliant, if you want to get that first round bye, on Los showing up against Beast Coast. If you want to finish top 2, Los need to either beat Beast Coast or force that game at least into overtime. Do you have any advice, any words of encouragement for Los who are playing this next game, what they've got to do to take down Beast Coast to help you out?
I think they need to do more no-brain plays because they like to lurk, roam, on solo without any reinforcement or whatever, and that on Oregon we struggle a lot against that. And if we had a Jackal or some operator to get the rotates and everything, I think that we would maybe it would have been better, So yeah.
Cameraman, as an IGL, when you have all of the strategy, everything that you guys are going into it, and obviously you guys have been counter-stratting a lot in-game, when you have a player who's popping off like Spoit did today, does that change how you call? Do you try to specifically put him in any of these positions to go for the kills, or is it just everything that you guys have had prepared before?
I think we lacked yesterday. We even talked about it to Willie, to Spoit, because if he's playing the way he's playing great. Like he needs to sometimes call for a utility like drones and everything, like flashbang, so like we can make his job easier, you know. So yeah, today was like a great evolution like on that matter, and yeah, I think like we can rely on him and he can rely on us like with utility and everything. So yeah.
Well, no matter what happens, you're still going to playoffs. You're done with best of ones. You're moving to BO3s, which on some level has to feel good that the best of ones are finally over with. But talk to me from an IGL perspective, because you've finished all the best of ones, how is this team shaping up to other teams that you've played on? Like, it feels like guys like Spoit and Kino are playing out of their minds. You're adding the Brits into the equation at the same time. Where does this roster rank just after you've played a best of ones?
I mean, like, I wasn't expecting like to have a team like this. I didn't like first when I joined M80, like everyone left, and I didn't know who would come here. And like once I have the names and everything, like I was just like so happy because I know the guys here for a while. Like I met him on other tournaments and stuff. So I was really happy, and I am really happy because like we're showing up. Of course, like we need to fix some stuff. We're a 1 month team, you know, like so. Yeah, but I'm very humbled and very like grateful, you know, like that these guys trust on me, and I totally trust on them too.
It's working out so far, and no matter what, you're still going to playoffs. We'll just sit back with bated breath and see whether you're getting the first round bye or not. Cameraman, congratulations. It was a close one, but we'll see if it's the same thing in playoffs, dude. All right, take care.
Thank you.
I think for me, just on a personal basis, the fact that they made playoffs in the first place, it's not that it was unexpected. The fact that they were competing for top 2 as a team, like he said, that's been together for so little amount of time, that's a pretty, I think that exceeded my expectations by like 2 or 3 places at the very least.
Oh, for sure. I don't think we say how difficult of a job it is to be an IGL, to be a leader.
Yeah.
But to not only do that on a second language that you're actively trying to
in a region
learn.
you never play in.
Exactly. You have to not only learn the qualities that other teams bring, you have to learn your own players that you've never played with, and you have to be able to do that all while speaking a language that you're not necessarily the most comfortable with. So the amount of steps that M80 had to go past to be able to find this amount of success, it's such a monumental achievement, in my opinion, to be able to have accomplished that.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen in a lot of NAL stages and tournaments in the past where like sometimes being the best team, finishing first in the standings, dominating everything, isn't exactly what you need for the long-term success. Part of what you need to be doing during the group stage is growing and improving and getting better.
Yeah.
And so for finishing on a loss yesterday for M80 and something that kind of feels like a loss today because they didn't secure that top 2 spot for M80, finishing with those 2 L's might be a good thing for helping to improve them and shape them going forward into playoffs, because this is a team that obviously has so much more to grow, has so much more potential that they could still hit. So I'm really looking forward to see what they can do in playoffs, whether they get that bye or not. They should be looking really good, and I hope they can learn from these last 2 games.
It's just one thing to win a game in overtime and lock your opponent in for a bye and not be able to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So here's what has to happen. There's a game coming up after this between Beast Coast and Los that's going to determine not OXG's future. They have a bye. Whether it's first or second place at this point kind of doesn't matter. But now there is a future where Beast Coast probably could become the #1 seed in the NAL if they win game number 3 coming up next.